Hi, everyone. It's Peter Kraut of Silverstock Investor with today another episode of Patered Podcast, where we interview management of companies that we recommend, but also personally own, track, and report on. So today I'm joined by Jalen Yuan, who is CEO of New Pacific Metals. Jalen, thank you so much for your time to explain some big news at New Pacific.
Thank you, Peter.
Jillian, why don't we jump right into it? You took on the leadership role of as CEO at New Pacific relatively recently. Maybe you can fill us in a little bit on your background and your experience for viewers to know a little bit better who you are.
Right. Thanks a lot, Peter. Hi, everyone. My name is Jalen Yuan. I actually came from an accounting background. I've been a chartered professional accountant in Canada for 20 years. I first joined the Silvercorp and the New Pacific Group in the year 2009. So a bit of 16 years from now. And I started with the controller positions with the two companies. And in the year 2015, which is 10 years ago, I was appointed as a CFO for New Pacific Metals Corp. That's why I have seen our project's development in Bolivia since the beginning in 2017. And just early this year, in April 2025, I was appointed as a CEO for the company.
Excellent. That's a big role, obviously, a lot to take on,
Yeah.
and a lot of people are watching for the progress and so on of New Pacific. Maybe you can fill us in a little bit on the skills that you feel are needed to move New Pacific forward from its current stage.
Definitely. I think the key skills that we need in the company is leadership and also the management style to get tasks done. Being a bit more specific, I mean, how to set up meaningful strategic objectives for the company and what's the detailed roadmaps and action plans to achieve those objectives, followed by a proper communication of these things to employees and assign very detailed tasks to them, and at the same time enable them to perform and delivery. So these are all the key skill sets that we need for the company to push the project forward. I mean, since I took over 7 months ago, I basically inherited all the management team, especially the Bolivia management team. And since then, I haven't changed even a single personnel yet. But by just doing those key things that I pointed out, I think the progress that we made in this 7 months, if you compare it to last year, the difference is quite obvious. And I think another key thing is dedication. So again, since I took over, I spent over 75% of my time in Bolivia, working closely with our team here on a daily basis. Because personally, I'm a firm believer of, I think a general has to be on the front line with all the soldiers to win the battle.
Well, it makes a lot of sense, and nice to see that it seems to be working and paying off, and the progress is coming. There have been some really pretty dramatic changes in Bolivia very recently. There's a brand new government. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about, and provide some highlights in terms of what's transpired recently there and what it might mean going forward.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Bolivia just went through its national general elections twice this year. The first time in August, which they elected the new Congress and Senate, and the second time in November, which they elected the current president, Mr. Rodrigo Paz. So through these two general elections, what's obvious is we're seeing the country is under a drastic political movement from an extreme left-wing party-dominated regime for the last 20 years under the Marx Party to a now more center to right-wing oriented government. Right. It's evidenced first by the president himself. Is Mr. President Rodrigo Paz, his famous campaign slogan during his campaign is capitalism for everyone. So that speaks for itself. And the movement also is more clearly evidenced by the composition in the Congress and the Senate. Because in the past 20 years, the Marx Party, which is the left-wing party that is in the ruling, was in the ruling, they always own over 50% of the seats in both Congress and the Senate, which means all their bills gets passed easily there, right? But under this new Congress and the Senate, the whole left-wing party representation is less than percent in both of them. So that speaks for itself. I think the driven factor behind it is Bolivian people, they're desperately needing for a change. Right? The country itself is under a quite severe economic crisis, I would say, since 2 years ago. Right? The driven factor of that is shortage of US dollar. Put it in a simple way, is the country is out of money. Right? The shortage of US dollar led to high inflation rates and also led to some scares in like essential supplies, especially in gas and diesel. So the living standards of the Bolivian people are deteriorating. So people are craving for a change. And what does that mean to us is at macro level, the new government need to fix this economic crisis. And when they're short of money, they need to bring in more money into the country. If your nation's GDP alone is not going to be enough to generate sufficient money for a country, then obviously you need outsider helps, right? Like foreign investments. So at macro level, we do think the country's economic agenda aligns with our company's project permitting agenda. We're the front runners in the country in the mining sector, where they define the two world-class deposits in the projects here in Bolivia. All we need is to get these two mines permitted so we can start constructions. And the initial capital injection we're talking about, it's two low-hanging fruits there, combined over 700 million US dollars. That's a significant amount of money that flows into the country that can help Bolivia.
Yeah, that hopefully we can get there sooner and do things that are good for everyone. So
Right.
yeah, I mean it's nice to see some positive change. At New Pacific, there was a quite sizable recent financing, and it was nice to see too that the company had really not much difficulty raising
Right.
that money. That's quite bullish. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about how these funds are going to be used towards advancing projects, community agreements, and so on.
Yes, of course. Yeah, first, let's say the financing was at a great timing, and there's a huge demand out there. We're actually withholding ourselves on the money that we raised. In terms of our work plans, how to use these funds, maybe let me start with silver sand first. Right, because silver sand, the main problem in the past couple of years was illegal mining that hindered our permitting progress. But since this year, we made great progress on stopping that. Put it simple, we stopped all illegal mining activities since July this year, and there has been no illegal mining activities since then. And we were able to establish a temporary camp on our site and maintain a small security force there on a 24/7 basis. So with the illegal mining issues been suppressed at the moment, we immediately moved on to work with local communities to repair the relationships that was damaged by these illegal mining activities. Right. The effort we put in is leading by myself. We do this kind of family to family socializations with local community families. Basically, we just want to restore their confidence in our project and want to install this kind of vision into their minds that share the same vision as us to use this project as a vessel to bring benefits and life-changing moments to their family. And so far, the progress has been very good, let's say. So our next stage plan is to complete this kind of socialization program and also negotiating framework agreements with all impacted communities. Timeline on that is internally, we're wishing to complete all these and get the agreements signed in the next 6 months or so. So let's say if we get the community's blessing and we build a solid foundation at the project level, right after we sign these agreements with communities, we move on to restart our environmental categorization and the environmental permitting application process, meaning some technical works and administrative works with the government, like environmental and social economic baseline studies, so on and so. Again, the timeline on that, we internally estimate it to be another 18 to 24 months. A bit unfortunate is there is no reference we can take because, as I'm saying, there hasn't been any permits granted in the past 20 years, right? But we're also optimistic that with the new government supposed to be on board and supporting us, these technical and administrative works, the process, maybe we may be able to expedite on that.
My understanding is that they want to do things to facilitate, improve the mining code, and so on. Maybe you can just speak to that a little bit.
Yes. So far, actually, there hasn't been any actual bills passed yet. But from what the president, the Minister of Finance, the newly appointed Minister of Mining, their public speech, they all want to make changes to the existing mining law and foreign investment law. Also talking about potentially reduce or eliminate the withholding tax for foreign investors when they when they want to withdraw money outside of Bolivia. So these are all very encouraging message and notes. As I'm saying, at macro level, the country needs money. So if they want to save the country's economy, there's no secret there. They need to bring in money.
Exactly. So, Jalen, you told us a little bit about Silver Stand and how this you've been progressing that project. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about how Carangas is advancing community agreements and so on.
Right, absolutely. So at Carangas, we're actually off a better start with the communities there because there was no illegal mining issues. As a matter of fact, the Carangas community, they held their annual assembly meeting on this August 30th. So during this meeting, they thoroughly discussed our project's development, and in the end, the community actually voted largely in favor of the project's advancement. So we're already off a really good start with the Carangas community. So ever since then, we presented to the community a long-term framework agreement that covers from the permitting stage to the end of our mine life with staged benefits, and also more importantly to them, a resettlement plan. So at the moment, the company is closely negotiating these terms with the local community. And we're hoping to get the agreement signed by the end of this year, or if not, maybe early first quarter in 2026. So the foundation at Carangas is pretty solid and good at the moment. And at the same time, we're converting our existing exploration licenses into mining licenses or administrative mining contracts, aka here in Bolivia. And that process is already halfway through. The rest is complete a consulta previa, which is a pre-public consultation with the local community once we sign agreements with them. And then the bill goes into the National Assembly, meaning the Congress and the Senate. They need to approve it. So estimated timeline on that, we're wishing to get the mining license granted to us somewhere mid-2026. And immediately after we obtain the mining license, we'll move on to the environmental categorization and EIA process in the same way as silver sand. So timeline-wise, that takes another 18 to 24 months maybe. But also for Carangas, the resource potential, there is still upside resource potential there. And we're planning on to do a 33,000 meter of infill drilling programs starting the second quarter in 2026 next year. And this program will last for the whole year at least. So within that 33,000 meters, we designed 18,000 meters to test to infill the upper silver zone resource. The goal there is to enhance the current existing resource, and at least we want to convert 30% of the existing resource into the measured category. Then we designed 13,000 meters of infill drilling to test the deep zone gold deposit. The goal there is trying to make more gold discoveries to beef up our resource there. And then last but not least, we also designated a small amount, about 1,600 meters of drilling, exploration drilling to test two previously identified IP anomalies there.
Excellent. Now, interestingly, there are a couple of large silver companies that have participated in the recent financing, and I know that they have also significant shareholdings in New Pacific. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about that, what kinds of share ownership they have in New Pacific, who some of the directors are that participate with your company, and what some of the implications are.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think the two companies you're talking about is one is Silvercorp Metals Inc., which is our largest shareholder. They own 27% of the share in us. The other one is Pan American Silver Corp. They own between 11% to 12% of our shares. Both are big names, well-recognized silver players in the market. The directors they have on board from Silvercorp side, it was Mr. Paul Simpson, and from Pan American side, it was Mr. Martin Warfel. So actually, both shareholders have been there since 2017. Along the way, they have provided tremendous support to our company, not just through the pro rata like financing, they participated every round, right? But also they provided with strategic advices, management helps, and those things, just all kinds of like a mentorship and other kind of advices to us. So we're truly appreciate that. And I believe that they will continue to support our operation here because from what I've known, they have confidence in our company, in this current management team. They know clearly we have clear objectives and goals and roadmaps to achieve those. I think they're pretty confident in those areas. And on top of that, I think helping New Pacific to develop into the next stage also fits their own corporate objectives.
Yeah, no doubt. It's very nice to see large recognizable names, very well recognized and respected names in the silver industry, take such a strategic ownership in New Pacific. Jalen, you've given us a wonderful overview of your background, changes, some very exciting changes that have come about in Bolivia, the projects, financing, how you're advancing everything. I'd like to maybe wrap up with a short personal anecdote, something from you that relates to mining or the company. Whatever you think is maybe pertinent to where things stand right now.
Of course, thanks, Peter. Yeah, I think overall, I think I myself is a very down to the ground guy. I mean, I see no difference in myself compared to my colleagues, my employees, and also those community members on the project. Because in the end, we're all working hard for the future of our own families, right? So we actually do have a common objective to align with. And if we can do that, and if everyone works hard as true partners with each other, right, to develop these two projects, then these two projects really becomes the vessel to bring the glory to our company, New Pacific, and at the same time, bring glory to our own families. And I'm a firm believer on that. I think if we all do that, great things will happen.
That's fantastic. I like that. It makes I agree. I feel that when people working for a company feel that they're really part of it, they're more committed, and everyone's odds of success are a lot higher. Um, Overall, Jalen, this has been a fantastic overview of New Pacific. I really want to thank you for your time today, and I can tell you that I'm sure the viewers today are going to continue to follow the all of the developments at New Pacific, and I can imagine we're going to see some really exciting things come over the next couple of years. Thanks so much for your time today.
Absolutely, Peter. Thank you so much. Much appreciation here.